Ooh, I feel just like a retarded. Oh, oh, when we're kicking ass in war. I don't care what they say, no golden ways. I don't care about that. 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 What's with these neutrals dissing my core? Why did they good at us? What did we ever do to disguise that made us smirk so much? Well, I guess we're back, and we made them mad. That's why they're all crying. I feel just like a retarded. Oh, oh, when we're kicking ass in war. I don't care what they say in the world anyways. I don't care about
Hello.
that.
Shh.
Don't you dry your tears, we'll always be here, whether in Declan or Dell. Your efforts were wasted, your strategy shed, your it still prevails. Well, I guess we're mad, and we made them mad. That's why they're still calling. I feel just like a retarded. Oh, oh, when we're kicking. I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby, then come on, oh, come on, woo, let's get it on.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Whiskey Gaming Show. We're here with Caleb. Say hey Caleb, because you're on video, you get to go first.
Hey people.
We also have McLeod, and somehow I think we just lost Scythe. So I'm going to have to drag him back there. Oh, we got him? All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, Scythe. Somehow you disconnected. What are you doing? Did you make a sale at the giant yard sale that you're at? He's not talking. He must be wheeling and dealing. So Scythe is
Running from the cops.
running from. He might be. You never know. I don't know. So hey, we got a lot to talk about today, don't we? I mean, there's just a giant amount of stuff going on in Eve. What do you guys think?
Indeed, we've
fair
been
amount of
talking about the CSM minutes and reading and commenting on all that.
Oh yeah, the CSM minutes were crazy, right?
Very interesting. A lot of nice details in there.
Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out here if Twitch alerts just bugged out on us. And put a little test text. Nope, there it is. We're going. We're working. So just making sure that the chat was coming up in the window here. So it is working because it was looking blank, and I thought I should have some folks in there. So
Your monthly treat, Eric.
my what?
Your monthly treat. Your little morsel of MER.
Oh, the mirror. That's gonna be that's interesting. And I just I started looking at that last night. I had a really busy work day, so I couldn't look at it during lunch. But it's interesting. It's an interesting MER to me. from a couple different perspectives. So we'll talk about that a little later on today too.
Oh, and the big news, of course,
The big news is
that the Imperium hit 30,000 members.
30,000 members. We're probably gonna break Eve. Don't worry about
Pretty
it.
much. Rip Eve. It's dying. It's only goons left.
I would think, in a comment on that, right? And I'm not watching all the other alliances and corporations, but I would be surprised if we don't see a little more consolidation over time. What do you guys think?
I think that's only natural, especially when there's not a lot to fight for.
Mad Caraba said 200 active, 800 alts. No, it's 200 active, 29,800 alts. So, yeah. But yes, no, we can form up a little bigger than 200-man fleets. But yeah, what do we consider? McLeod, do you remember what Mitten says? What is it, a 3-to-1 ratio usually is what's considered an Eve?
I think it's something to do with that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's approximately 3-to-1.
Yeah, I know.
I think they said 8,000 active forums accounts, right? So give and
I
take,
mean,
and then the
yeah.
ones are missing, right?
I mean, to be fair, like if it's a 3-to-1 ratio of main to alts, then yeah, I'm pretty much right on the money.
Yeah, we keep losing Scythe, by the way. Keeps bugging out. I wonder what's up because he is dialing in on his phone, right? So that'll be interesting. But yes, active alts. Yeah, I mean, most of my alts are pretty active, except for my Sinos that are spread across the universe. But
It's only one above average, right? The average is 2 point something.
yeah, it probably. I know a number of people who just have one character. I'm like, how do you play Eve? I don't know.
Pretty much.
I couldn't do that.
You could then add the people that play full screen and the people that only play with one screen.
No, they live in Pravi, so there you go. So it's
And they
true.
role play in local.
Well, they're not role players, but they do live in Pravi, and they do have one character, a couple of them. So yeah. So
One account, one screen, full screen, role playing local.
So I want to welcome everybody in the chat who's watching us out there. Please feel free to be very interactive. Those folks who are new, and if you're new and you haven't followed INN, please do so. We always appreciate that, and you can always donate to the stream too. Because we're going to Vegas, so nobody has any money to gamble. So we need gambling money. So no, just kidding. eVegas is another thing. There's big news on eVegas. eVegas is sold out. Does anybody know how many tickets they were even selling?
1,000, right?
Yeah,
Was it-
something around the 1K mark. I think.
Okay. So how many people go to FanFest in Reykjavik? Hey, Dodd, how you
Same
doing?
number. About the same number.
Yeah. They said that they were like the attendance for for Vegas is going to be basically pretty much similar to the regular FanFest, which is pretty insane.
Except that everybody will be sleeping in and not going to Vegas events as much, right? Because Vegas is just a big boondoggle.
Vegas is Vegas, baby.
Vegas is a fun town, but it's interesting. It's interesting with Vegas. Those who haven't been there or aren't in the U.S., right? The big days for Vegas are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People fly in Thursday night or Friday morning, and they fly out Sunday. It's like a big thing, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I'm coming in pretty early. I think I'm coming in on the 4th, early in the morning. So I'll be there. So anybody going to eVegas, I'm very excited to actually meet people that play Eve that we all see, right? I think Dirk is going and a bunch of those guys. So it'll be really interesting for me to see those people that I talk to all the time, but I don't meet. Like there are probably, I have probably met less than 10 people in real life that play Eve. So this will be a new experience for me.
Oh. It'll be a fun time, man. Honestly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I'm fired up to drink because I'm just gonna drink and sleep in and drink and sleep in and drink and sleep in. That's all I'm gonna do.
So if you get a big Christmas bonus, then you should set aside April as well.
Our bonuses come in the first paycheck of March every year. So, but
Oh,
it
that's
was
just
interesting.
before FanFest.
Yeah, just before FanFest, right? I really don't want to go to Reykjavik. I don't know. I just
Good.
don't.
It's a thing. It's like the Eve version of the Hajj.
Hey, Dodd.
You have to go on your pilgrimage, man.
Yeah, Dodd. You can always
Once
drop in
in your life.
Yeah, hold on. I want to tell Dodd something. Dodd, you can always drop in the stream too if you want. You're always welcome. Or just chat there. Are you going to Eve Vegas, Dodd? Because there's going to be a bunch of Eve nerds there. I can't wait to meet all the goons because there's just tons of goons. I think we have I don't know. Last I checked, 70 people or something for dinner one night. Cool. It'll be good to meet you, Dodd. Yeah, I can't wait. We're going to a nice restaurant. I'm not going to disclose it publicly, but it is a
Of course.
yeah, it's a nice place. It's a pretty cool place to go, and it's going to be fun, I think. My wife is going as well, so that'll be interesting. I am a guy who has never been to Vegas without their wife. That's kind of a weird thing, I think, for guys in the U.S. Usually, they're not taking women with them when they go, but this will be my second trip to Vegas, so it'll be fun. Not Vegas, first trip to Vegas, but yeah, second trip to Vegas. So I like it. Any other meetups going on around that people are going to?
Well, there's Amsterdam, right? Coming up soon.
Amsterdam's coming up in November, which would be really cool. There's the London meet, which happens every fucking Well, actually, to be fair, I have heard that apart from I think FanFest, I think the Eve London meet is the longest running Eve meetup ever.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool, and it happens every year at the same place, which is
It's the London meet is the oldest, and then it's the Danish Gang, and then it is FanFest.
Right, so it even beats FanFest.
Yeah, see, I'd like to go to the Eve London thing. That's something I might do.
It's pretty chill, man. It's really chill. We, tend to go to the same bar, which is the Goodman Fields in London, Central London, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to it several times. It's really cool. This is pretty awesome. I mean, it's not massive like Amsterdam or Vegas or FanFest thing, but it's pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not Dovigin. Yeah, that looks like what it is. I'm not a pot smoker, so yeah, Amsterdam doesn't do it for me. Although, Harold and Kumar videos about smoking pot are just hilarious to me. So I do like those. Have you guys ever seen those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Harold and Kumar stuff.
Problem
Problem solved.
It was
Got beer.
Cheech and Chong before that, right? If you're a generation older.
I remember back in the days of vinyl, right? Because, there was a day when we had vinyl records, right? My uncle, who was a pretty cool uncle, he had one of Cheech and Chong. He had Cheech and Chong I think it was Up in Smoke. I don't remember what it was. But I remember listening to that album and just laughing my ass off. It was just hilarious.
The movies are amazing.
And it still didn't make me smoke dope, so there you go. So, anyway, let's talk about some Eve stuff. Let's get into it. We started a little early today for those who aren't used to it, so we had some time. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Limber Timbre has that record too. That's funny. So, Dovigin just joined the Imperium. So I'm glad you're happy because I remember when I joined the CFC, which I still think is a cooler name. The CFC is when I started loving Eve.
It was a more naturally occurring name. It was more of a nickname than an actual name.
Yeah, I just liked it better. CFC, it just sounds cool to me, right? But
It creates a bad atmosphere, right?
Oh,
Fun!
So So yeah, I mean that's when I really started loving Eve, when I came to Nullsec. So I probably would have started loving it with any group, but just so much organization is great. No, FCon doesn't sound cool. No, it doesn't. It's like DEF CON. Nobody wants to go there. So
Who would want to go to a deaf convention?
no, nobody does. Nobody. So should we talk CSM or should we talk Mirror first? What do you want to do, Caleb? Your choice.
Well, they're kind of tied together, so we can munch into a little bit of the mere numbers if you want to first.
Yeah,
and then
let's-
we segue straight into the CSM.
I'm gonna pop up the first one. This one's a little weird in just how I have to display it because it's not part of their main slideshow. What I found completely interesting here was that the Imperium was at war, and they still were right here as we look, right? The Imperium, the second highest production place in Eve, which is pretty easy to do, right? You can leave jobs running as you go away from home, right?
Yeah.
But NPC bounties, while not in the 9 trillion range, were still the highest in Eve. What I want to look at is down here in Branch. Look down here in Branch. That's a pretty big number down there. And I want to compare that to previous months. I haven't had the opportunity to do that. Did Branch ramp up while they were being invaded? What's going on there? What happened in Branch, right? Because Branch is like where everything goes to die. But they look like they're ratting pretty good.
They're writing pretty heavily, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot. It's one of those things where if you spark activity, people, are logging in. People have that kind of active sort of thing of being like, "Oh, I'm playing Eve" in their brain, kind of thing. So, in the sort of time between fleets and time between other things, they kind of go, "Oh, well, I could do some writing." So, apart from all the die-hard writers who rat the crap out of stuff. Who some of us really hate because, we undock and go, oh, there's no bloody sanctums or havens to open for us. You get the other people who, rat the, all the other stuff as well. So,
Yeah. The interesting. So I looked at what they mined in Delve, right? 2.1 trillion, but they lost 2.2 trillion in ships, right? So we're still we were negative ISK there in the mining area compared to destruction. However, we made up for it in the NPC bounties, right? The 2.6 trillion. So we're still net positive in Delve, despite not really being back there to defend stupid people in capital ships. So we need like propaganda, stupid people in capital ships. And we need to hand out that award, I think.
The equivalent of a Darwin Award?
Yeah, for Eve. Stupid people in capital ships. What do you think? Let's get.
Well, kind of. You can't. I don't think you can really call it the Darwin Award because that's just like basically, grabbing something else and attaching its name to it, sort of thing. But we need to find someone who is the pinnacle of being really dumb. And losing something.
We'll find
the
something.
dumb bee of the week.
I still like stupid people in capital ships. It's more fun. I have not. Oh, knock on wood. Thanks. I have a wooden desk here. I have not lost a capital ship since I left the wormhole.
So the title should be what? Capital Idiots?
The only capital that I ever lost was actually a capital that wasn't even mine.
Dodd's got the Cat Piss Ever Down Award. Gee, I wonder which actor thing character he took that from. I like it, Dodd. Whoa, what the hell did I do here? All right, let me fix that.
Don't know.
But that's kind of the interesting numbers here. Did you see anything, McLeod or Caleb, that you thought were interesting on these numbers over here?
Not so much. I was mostly following the Plex prices, and I'm kind of wondering why they have plateaued out that much.
Why they plateaued out?
Yeah, the skyrocket movement has kind of stopped, so I'm wondering why that is.
I don't know. Let's pull up. I'll pull up some of the other numbers here that were a little interesting, right?
Was the ratting down in universally, and how does the actual ISK numbers
Well,
look?
so I just
total ISK?
yeah, I just pulled up the production graph, right? So production's in pretty steep decline. I expect that to probably go back up when refineries come out, and people start jazzing through the refineries. Because I'm wondering how much of this growth here on the upside was really Citadel builds, right? And now that so many Citadels are out there, it's probably pretty low.
Now we're gonna be waiting for the next uptick when we start seeing a lot of production of refineries, because there's gonna be a lot of those created.
Oh, it's going to be running, right? And Strovolos said out there, didn't CCP say they would intervene in the Plex prices? And I think
Yeah, that's actually segueing into the CSM minutes in the financial section, and I think that's kind of just a side note that they said that they do still have that option. I don't think it's changed their policy in general. I think they will only tap into that resource if there's a huge overheating of the market or something equivalent to a manipulation.
Yeah, I think I heard, and McLeod, correct me if I'm wrong, on Talking in Stations this morning here on INN, that there was a dispensation by CCP that they would prefer to run Plex sales rather than dip into their stash.
That's been the policy since Quant
You were there,
kind of took over, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an option, but they prefer to deal with it other ways, right? And it's better for them. I mean, a Plex sale is more monetization for them, so it's a good thing. If they have if they are dipping into their wallet of Plex that CCP owns, it costs them money, right? Because it is technically confiscated Plex, and they are feeding the market something that doesn't have to be purchased to lower
It's
the
going to
price.
eventually reduce the motivation to actually buy new active Plex, right, from
Right.
the market. But so it would have that effect. But then you could turn it around and say that maybe more people would be inclined to buy Plex if there is more activity, because there is more people coming into EVE and playing because the price has been reduced or stabilized, right?
Absolutely. Here's one of the things we were talking about earlier while we were ramping up. The mind number seems to be going up pretty dramatically here in the last month. Do you guys see that, the little orange one that I'm kind of pointing at here on the screen? So
Yeah, it's recovering from a dip, right?
yeah, it was a pretty significant dip. But what's interesting is you have that massive drop in mining in Delve. Delve mined a whole lot less this last month, but yet that number recovered pretty dramatically, right? It'd be interesting to see where that mining is happening and if we can derive that from some of these numbers. What do you guys think? Just interesting. I'm surprised it rebounds so much with the dramatic decrease in Delve, right?
Well, I think the interesting part in general about the Mir and the last ones is that the number of players have been kind of flat. Well, it's starting to tick up again now, but I'm just impressed that the numbers have kept pretty stable, even though there's been this kind of slump in active players.
Yeah, I don't know that the import export was all that interesting to me this month. Was it interesting to you guys?
No, not much, because it's also offset a little bit by all the weird movements from all the stagings and stuff. So
Absolutely.
I didn't put much trust in any of those numbers, because I would have to sit there and then crunch them and figure out the exact movement of materials and how much is actually just ships flying back and forth.
I know, it's such a pain to deal with. The ISK faucets and ISK sink was a good report this month. I think, and this is just from memory, that the active ISK delta is a little smaller this month than it has been in previous months. I think that's the case.
But isn't it fairly close to what we figured out was the average? The average over time is about 30, right? Minus 30.
Yeah, but it's nice when that's under that, right? And I think it was in the 40s the last couple months. I could be wrong there. Probably somebody online will correct me there. But it's always good when that number's low because that means people are coming back to the game or not leaving as quickly, right? They're sticking around. We clearly need more ISK sinks, and I'm just not. I've thought about that for a long time, and I'm not sure where we need them or what's the best way to do
I
it.
still hold that the best way for CCP to add proper ISK sinks is to make the system more dynamic. So it's something that basically just responds to what players are doing. So make it a bit like industry index, although industry index is something I'm totally opposed to. But a market index where the taxations or the broker fees and stuff like that is all going to tick according to that. And then I would like to see NPC, corp stuff, LP store prices being dynamic as well. But again, that's me doing wishful thinking because I would like responsive, dynamic AI everywhere when it's related to price and ISK sinks.
I think that's hard to do programmatically, but yeah, I mean we need them somewhere, and I don't know where to get them. Right?
No, not if you have something like if they added something equivalent to like shares in the LP store, right? So players would basically move that back and forth and find the price. Then if the active price delta is positive, then you change the prices in the store as well. So things like that. That should be fairly simple to program.
Maybe. I'm looking at it from an infrastructure perspective, right? Jack up JITA's tax prices so that people start moving out of JITA, and
just use the same algorithm or a variant of the same algorithm that's being used on office rental. That's something that they should definitely consider. And then you would need to have a two-pronged system. So things like broker fees have a flat fee that goes up with activity, and then a percentage take that goes down with activity. So it becomes cheaper to put bigger stacks on the market, right?
just make people pay to go through gates.
I don't think people will like that one because, yeah. But
I don't care.
I definitely would support something like a dynamic broker fee, and then I would actually also support paying for volume used in your hangars.
I just have my one wish, and it's not even related to gameplay, right? My one wish is that all my characters are under one overseer account, and if I pay for 5 slots, I can play 5 of them at once, and it can be any character in that bundle. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So, all right, I really don't care about this, but it's clear that most people rat in nullsec, right? That's kind of boring.
Yeah, sadly.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that was interesting to me, right? So we have been seeing, right, this ISK number dropping, right? And all of a sudden the bounty prizes is up this month. And again, bounty prizes are up, mining is up, but the goons weren't in Delve doing anywhere near as much of that as they have been in the past. That kind of tells me overall activity in EVE seems to be picking up. What do you guys think about that?
Oh yeah, especially it's a lag from the increased activity on the PvP side, and now they're still around, and then they're doing something to prep for the next thing, right? I think it's something like that.
Yeah, I want to take a moment and say hi to Buff Fresh because he yelled at us in chat. So how you doing, Buff? Yeah, it's good to see that, and that kind of corresponds, right? We're going toward the winter, right? Summer's over, people are coming back to EVE. It's nice to see that happening, though.
Yeah, definitely the summer slump is done.
The summer slump is done. Yeah, the thing that struck me here on the money supply graph, right? It seems like we continue to be pretty even in the ISK. Looks like the rate of increase has slowed, but there's still an increase here there's still a slight increase on the money supply, which is
Yeah, but it's plateauing, right? So
Yeah.
It looks like they might be having a bit of it under control. And from some of the comments from Aerith and the CSM in general, is that it sounds as if CCP is actually doing a lot of these things and thinking about the strategic overall health of the game. And we were just told it was in the minutes that they actually have a dedicated team for the economy now. So this might actually be exactly what we could expect.
Yeah, it could be. The one thing that was interesting in this graph, when you look at, there's still a slight upward trend from the drop on the total here, right? If you look right in here, right, that we still have a little bit of an upward trend, but we really see a plateau on the character, right, or a drop. Really looks more like the valley, right? It's leveled off valley. But what continues at a much greater pace has been corporation finances, right? More money is shifting to the corporation wallet. Then the character wallet seems to have leveled out. There is money growth, and it seems to be going toward corporations, which makes sense.
I think I like the fact that it looks as if trend-wise in the future, it's going to almost be half the slope from the past. So if that's the case, that's definitely showing that they have got some sort of better balance between the faucets and sinks.
Yeah, I think the growth in corporation wallets might be Citadel related. What do you guys think?
I'm thinking it might be. I think it might be a trend towards October, November time, when I'm getting the impression that maybe it might be something to do with some corporations thinking that they need to, basically fatten their wallets up a little bit in order to, tide themselves over the, the coming of the changing of the moon mining.
I think it's preparation too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that, or it's that they're prepping in order to be ready to build the hell out of citadels, right? Are they prepping for that? I mean, it's got to be. I mean, if you're not doing that,
right? For buying all the stuff they need.
Refineries.
Yeah, I think there's
either for the refineries, or for building the refineries, or to tide them over until they can actually get their hands on the refineries.
And then we don't know how much is actually impact from the big speculators, because I think a lot of them are kind of at least offloading some of their investments over the last period. So they're basically repositioning, but specifically because now the whole thing with refineries moved forward in time. So I think there's a lot of stuff happening on that side too.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen some artificial market sort of speculation kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of manipulation going on right now, and then of course there's just the market getting kind of depleted of the stock. So it's very interesting times, and I did not expect them to push it forward by almost 3 months. So I've been left hanging a little bit.
Interesting. We have a new follower. I did not catch his name, so
thanks anyway.
it was it's kind of a weird graphic. We need new graphics because it doesn't sit well with our background. We got to figure that out. SJ in chat says corporations are getting more money because Y dot are rich motherfuckers. So I have no idea.
As I was telling Jintan, he was basically doing the opposite of a leak. He was keeping totally shut about any of this, so no hints were dropped. So he basically cost me a lot of money.
So in this one, and I never understand, and I really probably should ask Gareth, what is the significance of the velocity of ISK in EVE versus the real world, right? Because the real world is significantly higher than what we have in EVE. And I never even know what this even tells the devs. Do you guys know?
Well, it's just how much active trade is going on, right? How fast ISK is actually moving through the system.
Okay. I expect that to spike when those refineries come out.
Yeah, and it should start moving a bit faster now, I think.
We are making parts for Citadels like crazy. So we'll see how that works.
Have you achieved in Delve like the every Fortisar in every single system?
Almost. I think there's just a very few that do not have a Fortisar.
Eric, have you looked at the production time of the refineries?
I did not dig that deep over on because I got real busy last week with work.
I'm just trying to figure out how long the potential slump is going to be, because there's going to be a hole, right, from people getting them and starting producing the first batch and then launching them and then getting enough material from the first droids and then putting that into the actual refining. And yeah, that whole interim is going to be totally slumped. Nothing is going to be available except for people that are offloading stockpile.
Yeah, and Sugar Addict says something about terrible PI. Well, guess what? Citadels need PI too.
Indeed.
And so do refineries, right? They need a ton of PI, right? So
that was the one I forgot to actually get in on.
So I mean, essentially, I think there's probably the biggest area of speculation right now is those who feel that, if the build components and ratios are anywhere close to what's on the test server now, right? I think people are looking at those blueprints and the requirements for refineries and starting to stock up on those parts. So I think what I've heard is something like a 30-day lag before we start mining again, right? So I think
I think it's 30 to 45 days that there's going to be a big hole.
Well, I think the hole probably is going to last a month or two beyond. I think there's 3 weeks to start getting those refineries out there, probably.
Yeah, get your toilet paper and your shotgun shells and all that stashed.
Bread and milk.
So you're ready for zombie apocalypse in winter, because it's going to be a cold winter.
Get your bread, milk, and toilet paper. Go get it quick, right? So the
Get ready.
but I
Get
think
ready for the purge.
But remember, you still have probably close to a week before the first moons are mined after the deployment, right? And and rigs, right, with their requirement in the area of salvage, right, even become a bigger pain in the ass to get out there. So I really think you have probably at least a quarter of impact just to ramp up and get back. Now CCP, I think,
and we don't know if any of the three big ones are planning to do any sort of disruption or disruptive activity when things start launching, because whether it's NC or PL or Goons, if they start doing even something remotely like a little bit of an interdiction, just shooting shit everywhere, it's going to prolong that even further, and that means that the investments are going to be worth even more. But I do think that the ship has sailed on most of the obvious speculative investments.
Yeah, Threaten out there is asking if PI prices are going to rise with the moon changes.
I think there's a little bit left in PI, but not a lot. I'm a little bit afraid to actually go hard into investing in PI, because I don't know if the ship has sailed on that too, but there could be a bit more.
I think the ship has sailed on pretty much everything, right? And unless you've been stockpiling already, right? I'm not even sure that at this point, beyond...
You need to look for the not obvious ones, right? So things like what I was trying to imply in talking in stations, some of the lower tier moon stuff, it should, in an ideal market, I don't know how much people will actually consider opportunity cost, but since it's going to be labor intensive now, the cost of labor should be pretty much the same no matter what you're mining. So the impact of that in terms of price should hit the lower tiers higher, much more than the higher tiers. So there should be a bit of money to make on buying in on some of those lower tier stuff. And then, of course, the fact that a lot of labor will move away from some areas. So most people will most likely be mining for moon stuff because of the nominal numbers and stuff like that. That means that there's going to be labor missing on things like ice and things like traditional minerals. So you're going to get those seesaw effects happening. And there's a lot of money to be made if you can pick the right winner there.
Yeah, I've got a moon that's got 4 things to mine off of it, right? And it's gone anywhere from being ISK positive to slightly ISK negative. But I keep mining it just for that particular speculation, right? Because it's still cheaper than what I think it's going to be. I'm wondering is, beyond the next week or two, is it even worthwhile to keep running reactions? And I keep going to the feeling that I think in the next week or two, it's time to wrap up. What do you think?
I get the feeling that a lot of people are thinking that and doing that exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like the last batch is coming in like now, and they're not gonna run another one.
Yeah, and I think probably for, I don't know, trying to do a calculation in my brain here, probably the last 6 months or 5 months. The moons that our corporation mines, we haven't even sold any of it. And I think one of the things I think CCP is thinking, there is so much pent up, moon goo out there on accounts, even prior to everybody hoarding it for the last couple months, that they think it's going to keep the prices pretty even when people start throwing it out there. Either this is going to be a big speculative bust, or it's going to be just giant, right?
Yeah, but I do think that they are underestimating the importance of active labor on the price. I don't think they've even considered how much that's actually going to impact it.
I don't think so either, but time's going to tell. I mean, it's just going to be an interesting thing to watch it from a market perspective. This is interesting, right?
I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen when with the moon stuff in regards to low sec and wormholes. To be honest, that's really where I'm very curious.
Yeah, well, I don't. At least at this point, they're not getting anything to mine in wormholes, right?
They still, the moons and wormholes are still going to have content, right? That's just not going to be moon goo.
No, it just has PI in wormholes.
They have PI. The moons do, like, if you probe them, they do have stuff. Like, but they don't. You can't actually mine them. You can't put a pos down, and you can't actually activate the fucking. You can't anchor the moon mining laser.
Thoughts like wormholes aren't
getting shit. Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure that
Positive.
It's only HiSec that's not getting moons.
Nope, positive. Wormholes aren't getting it. Wormholes has never had moon goo. And they're not.
Wormholes have never had moon goo, but then again, wormholes have never had the ability to put down stations either. But now we've got keep stars inside them, so never say never.
They've got enough blue goo. They don't need worm. They don't need other things. So yeah,
I was not referring to the content being moon goo, but I'm saying that there's going to be content in all moons, all over space, including HiSec. It's just that you can't actually put refineries down in HiSec yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm just thinking that if there's no moon goo, you might still be able to actually launch a refinery and then just use it for mining.
You could always do that with a pause in wormhole space too. You could run reactions if you wanted to, but what's the point, right? Unless you've got a static HiSec, I mean, it's a pain in the ass to bring enough shit in to do that sort of thing. Trust me, I've done it. It's a pain in the ass. So, but you can run reactions today off a pause, but it's just a pain. Why would you want to do it? Yeah, Noisy is saying you can launch refineries in HiSec, you just can't mine moons. Noisy, are you going to be able to run reactions in them, or is that going to be restricted to low sec? Okay. Lots of crying in HiSec about that. You know what? Cry me a fucking river, HiSec. If you're not able to do it today, you're not going to be able to do it tomorrow. Quit whining.
Yeah, and never say never. I would not I would not be surprised if they open it up eventually.
Nobody needs another reason to stay in HiSec, okay? There should be less reason to stay in HiSec. In fact, it should be
you still
fucking
have the
gone.
risk of logistics, right? So having the production safety is actually potentially a good thing.
Hey, so let's look at this graph here as we go, and then we can. I think this is the last graph to look at. Looks like all the indexes are rapidly rising, with the exception of the CPI, right? So every index is growing, and the CPI is just kind of nudging its way up, which is kind of weird. but I never like to see a graph that looks like this. I think that this rise in the indexes is far too steep unless we attribute it to the hoarding of moon goo, right?
Yeah, and
And other
speculation,
things,
right?
right? So,
Speculation and depletion and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of things have been kind of depleted already.
right. Yeah. Movements like we had here in 2006 and like we had basically around here in 2010, 2011. These are always bad for consumer price indexes. Stuff like this is okay in the lean years here, but it's, even or slowly growing, slowly reducing consumer price indexes is always better for the player, in my opinion. So I don't know.
You're seeing
Yeah, there it
minerals
is.
pick up, right? Minerals have picked up a lot since the slump.
Yeah, they have, right? So the mineral price index just way up there, right? I like these lines to be even and gentle slopes. I don't like indexes that radically move. It's never a good thing.
You don't like volatility.
Volatility is bad. Well, it's good for speculation, right? If you're playing the markets, it's fantastic, right? But if you're a producer, it is horrible, right?
I was just calculating what I have in terms of like my speculation, and yeah, I can say that over the past 2 weeks, it's been super speculative. Like, yeah, the positive and negative kind of differences is quite significant.
Yeah, well, that kind of always happens when CCP makes a big announcement, right? So they said, hey, by the way, you're not getting moon mining when you thought you were getting moon mining. Now it's coming at the end of October, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure that that's not a bad thing, right? I always thought that they were going to move the moon mining stuff and the new faction citadels far too close together. And it was going to be hard for them to manage if something went wrong. So if they have something wrong, they should have better manpower distribution to deal with it. But that's really all I got on the mirror, unless somebody's got something interesting to talk about there.
No, not so much. I'm more interested in the impact of the other brands and whether or not that's on the strategy side of CCP's reasoning for doing things the way they've been doing it.
CCP often confuses me as to why they do things.
Well,
I'll be perfectly honest.
If their focus right now is on things like Valkyrie and Spark, and then Nova coming up this winter, hopefully, then if their focus is on getting that marketed properly, so it can have that spillover effect and cross-pollinate all the other brands, then we should see a huge uptick in things like their hiring policies, and then putting dev hours into some of the things that's been lacking for a long time. And they even asked directly the CSM, I think, about thoughts and ideas on how to integrate things like Valkyrie into EVE. So I do think there's some very interesting things under the hood that's not in the minutes directly and might not even have been disclosed properly to the CSM.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
And then I'm still waiting for that thing that gave Aerith the hard on. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but when it hits, I'm hoping that he's going to point out that was the one.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see, right?
Well, he specifically said that was like something that was, quite a long time in the making. So it's going to take.
Did he say that?
For that to occur. Yeah, he did say like he wanted to qualify his like excitement with the fact that like if it is going to happen, like it's going to take a long while for it to happen. But like
Okay.
when it does come, he's going to be like it's going to be fucking like awesome.
Oh, and Jintan said that. Well, I don't know how much trust we can put on it directly, but he did say that it's very likely that CCP is going to put out some sort of roadmap again soon, TM. Because they had raised the point that it was a problem that the players didn't actually have access to things like a roadmap of sorts. So we're still working on the old one that Siegel released way back when she actually took the position, right?
That is one thing that I saw both on the Open Com show here Friday night, as well as talking in stations this morning here. You know, there was a little debate about how much of the roadmap that you give players and what it means. I am firmly on the side that if the players understand the roadmap, not necessarily the specifics that give them an advantage, right, or that they can speculate against, but the roadmap in general of where we are going with the game, because if the players don't have that, that's when all the things of it's stagnating, they're not spending money on it, they're spending money everywhere else, that all that stuff comes into play. What do you guys say?
Yeah, exactly, right. That's kind of what I've been criticizing CCP for the last 2 or 3 years, is that since they toned down the FanFest announcements and Vegas announcements to not be very hype-oriented,
Yeah.
and then they also closed down an actual active roadmap, we've basically had 2 or 3 years where there's been pretty much zero hype and zero retention from hype. So player expectations were bound to go down, and they have to do something and get back on growing balls and giving us something to at least be excited about. It doesn't have to be something where you know that January 18 this is going to happen, because that's not important. You can see that we were basically surviving on walking in stations hype for years, and that got fucking killed recently, right?
Thank God.
Fuck you. I still want walking in stations in some form.
This isn't, well, I was going to say this isn't Second Life, but that's like the stupidest Eve comment to ever make. You know, you don't need walking
Pretty
in
much, because it
stations.
is. This is more Second Life than Second Life.
It is. It's so
They're
yeah.
even more volunteering for this Second Life than they do in Second Life. At least in Second Life, they can do RMG and make money on it. In this, we are not allowed to. We're just doing this for nothing.
Yeah, that's true. And but you know what? It's a hobby, right? I mean, you know, I used to build model rockets and big ones and spend lots of time building them. And I was about to get even more involved in them with my own fiberglass rockets and everything. And I'm sitting there going, holy shit, that's a lot of time. But yet I play Eve, and I'm sitting there going, well, I couldn't make more model rockets because I play fucking Eve.
Which is
It's
also
just-
why
it's
I
only so much
keep
time.
insisting that you could actually get a lot of value if you added something. It doesn't have to be something extremely huge, walking and station based, but something dress up doll oriented, or decorating your room or house and things like that with trophies or whatnot. People would just do that like crazy, and the vanity items would just be crazy expensive, and CCP would make so much money. And they need to fix the whole price scheme of their vanity items, because that's totally too high already. It should be like a tenth, so people actually are motivated to go and buy their items.
Well, yeah, I think they should be more like microtransactions, right? They're still too expensive. You're 100% right. But I would love to
Conversion
see.
directly to dollar price, it's stupid price. It's totally stupid pricing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of vanity in decorating your ships. I just think that is huge. I didn't really want to buy skins, and then Rain was talking one night on
Yeah, she's a skin
and
pusher.
then she made me buy skins for my ship.
Yeah, she made us do it.
She made me buy a skin for a fucking Drake that I don't even fly. I don't even think I own a Drake, right? But I still
I'm
bought
still
the
waiting for
goddamn
that
skin
article
because
she's going to write
it was a
or
deal.
disclose on a stream that she's been speculating and buying skins forever, and she's made a killing actually promoting it and getting people to buy. So
But they were a cool looking skin that she made me buy, right? But I'm sitting there going, okay, I get it. I like skins. They're kind of cool. And they're pretty nifty. And I think that, and who said this? I think it was in the CSM notes. It was, so it's even on topic. Somebody said that for Uli Festival, they need to have fireworks for the Citadels. And I completely agree with this. Because have you shot the regular fireworks around the Citadel yet?
are you saying we should have snowball bombardments?
Absolutely. Okay? Because
It would look fantastic.
the fireworks are too small around the Citadels. By the way, they're just not big enough. The Citadels need like BFG fireworks, okay? and they need to put off
agree.
like fucking BFG fireworks show, and people would buy that shit to when they opened a Citadel or opened a refinery, they would shoot this shit off and have celebrations, and it would be fun. And it wouldn't even have to entail role playing, just like everybody hanging out watching damn fireworks. People would do it.
We should have it for fire. What's it called? Bonfire night.
Yeah, but I want big fucking fireworks, okay? Not this little shit that they have. I want bigger, better, badder, and they can do it. I have faith in our art department.
Yeah, we want something doomsday-like that can just spread fire all over the place.
Yeah, we need something that can be interesting. So but it'd be interesting. I mean, that's one of the things I did see, and CCP seemed to say, okay, we'll look into that, right? Get a module out there for your Citadels. That would be pretty cool. But I thought what did you think was the most interesting little tidbit in the CSM minutes?
Well,
Caleb?
actually, the discussion of margin trade as a skill was maybe the most interesting thing for me, because this is a little bit technical, but it ties in to what is termed the meta markets, right, where people are actually giving loans to each other. And if you remove something like margin trading as a skill, then the value of ISK would go up. So there would be more interest in actually loaning money so that they could use them for investment. So the price on things like loans would go up. And this ties directly into what Quant said way earlier, that they actually want to work on creating a contract form that makes it possible to create collateralized loan contracts in-game. So those two things are kind of tied together. If they go and say, okay, margin trade, we're removing it tomorrow. Boom. You have to go and get a loan if you want the liquidity to make those investments.
So we go from spreadsheets in space to actuaries in space. Is that what you're saying we're going to do?
Indeed. Do you want a job as an auditor?
No, I've seen the job of the auditors. No.
But it is relevant, right? Because a collateralized loan contract would make no sense if you don't do something to motivate and incentivize the price and the competition of that market to actually develop. So removing margin trading would be a perfect solution to doing that. And I do hope that they actually go ahead and do that. And then introduce those two things at the same time, because then it's totally tied together, and you can get Quant to write up a proper dev blog where people will actually applaud and not troll him to death on Reddit.
Well, he deserves it.
Indeed. And,
I'm talking about the trolling.
That was a brain fart.
So I'm not gonna be nice, because I've sent him like 17 emails. Not really. I've sent him like 3. And he's never responded to me, so he's on my bad list. So if he comes to Eek Vegas, I'm not buying him a drink. But
Does anyone know if he's actually going?
No, I don't think he is. But no. I mean, he just never responded to a number of emails that we had set up with him, so he's on my shit list. Just saying. So nothing
I'll get him to buy you a nice
couple shots.
Single malt.
Just a couple shots. Don't make him buy a whole single malt. That's not fair. Shot or two. No, that's all it takes to get on my good side. I read most of this. When they got to the margin trading, my eyes. Where's the CSM minutes? Let me get the link out there. I'll send the link. They are right here. They are long. By the way, this is probably the most accurate CSM minutes I've seen in a long time. I don't know what you guys are doing. Who was the new member?
What? Who took?
Did they announce the new member? Yeah.
Yeah. Salt Dragon has accepted the position, and he's going to take it from now, I think.
Okay. See, that adds that. But I thought these were really, really, really good minutes. It looked like the CSM members are really involved, really engaged, and really providing some feedback. And for once, it appears that CCP is equally engaged backwards. It seemed like we had a number of CSMs there, which CCP was just like, the devs weren't interested in working with the CSM members. That's just how it appeared to me. I don't know what
I
McLeod, you
think
guys think.
CCP finally figured out that their content is actually the player base, and then they started actually dedicating themselves to promoting that, and that includes the socializing and integration back and forth with things like the CSM. And well, now the Twitch stream is like populated by the players. It's amazing to see these things, because that's some of the things that we were asking for way back in 04, 05.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, I thought it was very interesting, CCP opening their Twitch channel up to a number of streamers like Boat and I'll get
Bjorn B and Rain.
Raiden,
and,
yeah.
Gommel is on there as well, I think.
Yeah. By the way, so I think we just listed a number of Imperium members too, because Raiden's Imperium.
Not really. Killer B, Rain.
I know we got a lot of,
Imperium members.
but we got
Rain is not, and Bjorn B is not INM as far as I
right.
know.
But I just said we said Gommel, we said Raiden, we said Boat.
Boat.
Yeah, all Imperium
But
boys.
time-wise, right? They do have the most people dedicated to streaming and stuff like that. They've been what's Eric's term? Munching up talent.
Munching up talent. Raiden's got a big thing coming up. I think I got to see when he's scheduling his what is it? Eve versus whatever versus Eve. We need to have him on the channel talking about what he's doing there. He's doing a lot of stuff there.
Is it the Twitch versus Eve you're thinking about?
Twitch versus Eve. That's what it is that he does.
Yeah, I think Rain was part of that too.
Yeah, a lot of people were, and that's good. I mean, I like when that crosses all the groups. I mean, it's a cool thing. Yeah. So, one of the feelings I got from some of the CSM members talking about the CSM minutes, it seems like CCP is less than enamored with the current SOV system. They figured out it's probably terrible, and they need to change it, but it doesn't sound like they know what they want to change it to. Do you guys get that feeling?
Yeah, I refer back to what Arendis wrote way back about sovereignty actually changing, because I'm pretty sure that he's predicted it
Exactly.
perfectly, and he's argued exactly why it's going to change to that format. And again, as I said, that's pretty much what I got from a few of the devs I was talking to at FanFest. That's where they're hoping things can move into that. It's just that, again, I don't think they want to come out and say, this is what we're going to do with SOV, and then they might promise too much and can't deliver in time. So I think that's why they're not talking about it that much yet. Also because I think they want to make sure that they come up with a system where they've thought everything through so they don't get shut down by the CSM.
Yeah. So we've got about 8 minutes left. I think I'm the only one here going to Vegas because you guys the flights are too expensive from across the pond, huh?
Nah,
It's going to be a bummer.
We were very close to actually considering going this year, but since we're going to Amsterdam and FanFest, we thought, well, all three might be a little bit excessive.
All three might be? No.
Maybe next
So-
year. Maybe next year we might actually do the whole tour.
The trifecta.
Indeed.
Trifecta. I think you should get a special Eve badge if you do that. They should do something in game for people who do that. That would be interesting.
CCP needs some sort of Triforce copy thing because
Triforce.
they have the three big events.
Yep.
And now they're going to potentially have three big brands, right? Valkyrie, Nova, and Eve. So it's going to be total Triforcing all around.
Yeah. So one of the things CCP noted in the minutes that people were more happy with the link over Planet Hollywood. I took one look at the link and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm not staying there." So I've never stayed at Planet Hollywood, so I don't know how bad that was, but yeah, we're going to the Blade Runner movie, so that'll be fun. Blade Runner. So I'm excited for Vegas. My
You
wife.
guys are going to put out spoilers afterwards?
No, I mean, I'm excited. My wife is even excited to go to Vegas, and she doesn't like this game at all. She's like, I don't understand why anybody likes Eve as a game, And I'm like, that's just because, you're like a soccer mom. You don't get it. But yeah, but even she's excited to go to dinner and meet a bunch of goons and hang out and see what these people are all about. So she's excited, and she doesn't even like the game, so that's kind of cool. So we got about 6 minutes left. I'm going to give each of you the rest of the time to give some final thoughts. McLeod, are you busy or you want to chit chat? Might be busy. He's busy. It's all yours, Caleb. What do you got?
Well, I think I've said most of what I wanted to touch upon. I would still like to iterate that I am extremely hyped about the Valkyrie thing and the fact that I will be able to play that on a PC. And the fact that there will be a first-person shooter proper with Nova somewhere in the future, just going to be so huge for me, because it fundamentally means that I don't have to play much of any other games than CCP games. And they're all going to be tied in, and it's going to be the same people I'm going to be playing with. And I think it's the last part that's really the most exciting, right? Because you're playing with your people.
Your people.
Yeah, I think I'm contractually obliged to say that once a week or something like that. I'm still going to get my Bezos box if I don't say it.
Your Bezos bucks. That's right. I am excited to play Valkyrie on the PC as well. Although my go-to game if I'm just bored of Eve tends to be World of Warships right now. I just like the game. It's just fun. I don't know why. I still want subs in it, even though I think Dodd thinks subs will be cancer or something. I can't remember if he said that one time or not. I want subs in.
That's what they should do with PI. Make it a planet-based strategy-like game.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about PI and Eve, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it a mini game or a secondary game as well.
No.
Put it out.
Let's put it this way. You've all heard me rant about too many things are now like mining with this Moon Goo, right? I just think it's the same thing too many times in the game. I think we should have thought of something else or some other way to do this, but I'm not really sure how we would do it. I hate PI in the game so much that I would love to see that moved into the Moon Goo rocks. That's how much I hate PI in Eve. It is the most loathsome. I would rather configure and fit 1,000 pauses than do PI for a week. That's how much I hate it.
That's why I'm thinking of moving it completely out of the Eve client and actually putting it into a secondary but tied in game, something like a tablet game that's mentioned. So it's RTS, it's on a tablet. It's kind of like what they did with Fallout, with Fallout Shelter or something like that. So it's a mini game that can be played on multiple platforms, and you get the benefits from that. And then the material then contractually and market-wise just goes into Eve, of course.
PI is hideous. It's just hideous.
It is. The current iteration in game is just awful. It's like the most. It's worse than Fuzzy-Soft.
We agree. So point that out. We agree. It's terrible.
Very special day. Something we completely agree on. It must be true.
No. Aaron Harad out there says he loves PI. You're a very special person. I'm just going to say that right here, that you love PI. There is nothing about it that I like at all. No, I actually don't mind moon mining and taking care of moons. Hey, we've got 2 minutes for those who are here, and if you don't know what's up next, the Meta Show is up next. I think Boat's running that. I have no idea who his guests are today. That's probably something we need to do or start looking at from a Twitch show perspective, so that we can make sure people know what's happening on the next show after us. It'd be kind of cool. But
handovers.
The only one in Imperium who actually likes PI. I think you might be. But you know what? There's money in PI right now, right? There is. One of the interesting things I saw, and I think it was in the CSM notes since we have 2 minutes left, is that into the reaction, they are going to add, I can't remember, is it ice products or fuel blocks? Yep. I think it's fuel blocks, isn't it?
Fuel blocks.
Fuel blocks. And that makes sense, and I didn't think of that, because when you think of all the pauses that aren't going to be consuming fuel blocks, right? Adding those fuel blocks in. What I hope they don't do is say, oh, for this reaction, you need Caldera fuel blocks and Amar fuel blocks and this. Just make it like the Citadels. Any fuel block works. Otherwise, it's going to be a pain in the ass.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right. So, 3:59. We're going to throw it over to the Meta Show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for everything. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, McLeod, for being here with us. Say goodbye, everyone.
Later.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.